I welcome back to Chilladelphia Sports Radio. We got some new people here, new faces. We got Braden Harvey up there, and we got Pat here. We uh we start off. We're smoking on that 49ers pack, and while we're at it, we're smoking on that NFC East pack, and might as well add it on. We're smoking on that whole NFC conference pack right now because the Birds have made the Super Bowl, man. They're there. But all week, bro, I've been hearing the media saying how they believe Kansas City's going to take this game. And the first thing that a lot of people have been bringing up is the best defensive player on the field. And everybody's saying it's Chris Jones. And that's BS. Come on. Like, we cannot allow this to be a narrative. Hassan Reddick was second. He was runner up in Defensive Player of the Year. How is he not the best defensive player on the field? Then on a flip note, we also got C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who had the most interceptions in the league and missed 5 games. There are two. I just named you 2 players, and there's a bunch more that I would take over Chris Jones. The media has been just slandering the Eagles for everything. They hate us, and we don't care. We don't. Jalen Hurts, nope. Everybody's saying he's worse than Mahomes. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think so. I don't. He is on that same level as Patrick Mahomes. I mean, what do y'all think? Like, I think Jalen Hurts is on the same level as Patrick Mahomes.
And I mean, in terms of production and like team success, absolutely. I mean, they have completely different play styles. Like Hurts obviously is gets out of the pocket and scrambles, and Mahomes is more of a pocket passer. But yeah, I think they definitely are on the same tier. I'd give it to Mahomes as a better overall player right now in his career. But Jalen Hurts, it's really only his second year, and he has time to improve. And if he improves any more than this, he was already MVP runner up. I mean, he could be the best quarterback in the league at one point. It also depends on what the Eagles do in his future, really, like building around him. That'll determine his success in the long run, I think. But the media they love to twist the narrative in favor of against Philly. Uh, Whatever Philly does good, the media has to find something wrong with every situation they're in. It doesn't really bother me anymore because I've just gotten so used to it with all Philly teams.
Yeah, I would definitely go and say what you said, Ethan. You know, Mahomes, I think, has that level over Hurts right now. Just because, dude, Mahomes is proven in every aspect that you can go and think of. He's an elite quarterback. There's no question. You can't question his capability of leading a team. And I believe, like what I was saying before, is with Kansas City, you know that Kansas City is in the next 10 years, no one's doubting them on at least making the playoffs, if not an AFC championship game. I think Hurts has a lot more to still prove going forward in his career. And, you know, there's going to be cap situations with if you give him the 50 mil or 40 plus mil, how do you build around him then still? Do you go and how do you pay Devontae Smith when you have AJ Brown, who's a 20 to 25 mil a year receiver? So yeah, but I think Hurts did take leaps in everything that he did. I think, like you said with the media, there's a lot of doubt that comes into it. And I think it's unfair in a way, not just being a biased Eagles fan, but I think it's unfair to go and say, oh, Jalen Hurts isn't this and that. He went out and, like, I think he shut the haters up, and they both have different play styles. Like, one is a more mobile runner with Hurts. Like, that's why teams have to go and game plan. All right, how do we stop the run with Hurts with RPOs, read options, stuff like that. I think that's where what boosted like Miles Sanders and the running backs this year is because when you look at it, there's a quarterback there that can just take off at any time. So you have to go and necessarily have the DN spy on him and then have a linebacker ready in case the first tackle misses. So I think that boosted like Sanders in a way as well this season is having that game plan set. But yeah, Mahomes is definitely a few notches ahead of Hurts. I think it could have went neck and neck with the MVP race if Hurts didn't miss those 2 games. But just like I said with Wentz, man, like when Wentz had that MVP caliber season, it's crazy because they both ended up missing. Well, Hurts ended up playing, but Wentz ended up tearing his ACL, and then it went out with him. But Wentz was top runner MVP, and Hurts was neck and neck with Mahomes. But I give Hurts hats off to Hurts. Very big season he had, and we'll see what the future holds with him.
Yeah. I think it's too early, in my opinion, in Hurts' career for comparison right now. I mean, everyone was doubting Hurts, not a franchise quarterback. How are we going to build around him? He had a rough first year being in a new team, and they didn't know what to think. But I mean, coming from a non-Eagles fan, non-Chiefs fan, I think Hurts is the guy. Honestly, I mean, what he did this season, like you said, Luke, being a runner-up for the MVP after having the season that he did with the doubt, a lot of pressure on him, and then to lead Philly to a Super Bowl in his second year. It's kind of unbelievable, but when you're humble, when you have that capability of humbleness, you can get things done, and the players around him. But I always think don't count Pat Mahomes out. We've seen what he's done in the past, and to be compared to the greats like Tom Brady and being that talk, he's got it done. I know a lot of good games that they were supposed to lose, that they weren't favored in. They came back. Like the Bills game last year, close game, 2 all-star quarterbacks, and he got it done in the last seconds of the game. I just think there's a lot of a doubt on Justin or Jalen Hurts, and I think he's the man. I do, honestly. A lot of media talk. Like we started off, the media, everybody always doubts Philly. It doesn't matter what position that they're in. They're just a hated team. Their fans, their fan base, the team itself. You got to give it to them where credit's due, though. Honestly, like they're going to a Super Bowl with a brand new quarterback facing, Patrick Mahomes, the talk of the town, and he has the experience that he has under his belt, only being 27. But yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I think Jalen Hurts should be more in the talk of those Justin Herbert, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. He's not included a lot, and I think that's not right because he's done enough this season to show, man, I should be in this. I got the attributes. I got the skill. He is a running quarterback. Patrick Mahomes. I think I would favor him over Jalen Hurts, honestly, because of the things that he's already been to a Super Bowl. He's been in the playoffs more. He has those, what should we do? What are we going to do in this situation? But yeah, there's a lot of stigma around Philly itself. It doesn't even need to be Jalen Hurts. It could be someone else, and there'd still be stigma. Like Philly is the most hated team in the NFL, without a doubt, and that doesn't make it any better. But we'll see. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Jalen Hurts, he has the targets. Devontae Smith, AJ Brown, the season that AJ Brown had with the couple seasons he had with the Titans, he did his thing. He made his name known. We'll see how it goes.
Thanks, Fartfy, for that take. And I pretty much agree with all three of yous, man. I'll keep mine short so Cam and Pat can get their piece in on this too. I don't really think. Don't get me wrong, Jalen Hurts is a very good quarterback. I'm a huge Eagles fan, but there's no quarterback in the NFL that's on Patrick Mahomes level. There's really not, dude. It's a little early in Jalen Hurts' career to say that he's on the same tier as Patrick Mahomes, but Mahomes has already proven he's a Super Bowl champion. He's won MVP multiple times. He's been to the NFC Championship, I believe, 5 times now. Yeah, so he's already proven he's without a doubt the best quarterback in the league. Don't get me wrong, Jalen Hurts is one of them, but he's not. I don't believe that he's the best. But like you guys said, he still has a lot of room to grow. He's only in his 3rd year as a start, technically second. That was technically his 2nd year as a starter. So, yeah, he definitely has a lot of room to grow. And if he was the runner-up this year, he's only going to get better. And hopefully he wins an MVP sometime in his career. And hopefully he wins the Super Bowl championship this year. Because then the comparison to Dak Prescott will just be over. I don't even want to hear that anymore.
See, I gotta kind of agree with Bubbles though. So, what does the most valuable player on the field do? They win. What happened when Jalen Hurts was not on the field? They lost twice to really shitty teams. Okay, why he didn't win the MVP is beyond me because he was easily the most valuable player to the Eagles' offense. Some of the catches that happen don't happen without Jalen Hurts. Some of the routes, some of the touchdowns, everything doesn't happen really without Jalen Hurts. So on that level, I think it's completely different if Mahomes' backup came in and what would he do? I feel like it's kind of the same thing, but at the same time, it's not. Like Jalen Hurts brings running, he brings the arm, like all this other stuff that maybe Mahomes could run, depending on the ankle, especially coming up this week. I know a high ankle sprain, last 8 weeks, something like that, to recover from. And Jalen Hurts' shoulder. So I don't know. I agree with Bubbles to some extent, but I don't know. It is pretty early. It's his, second year? I don't know.
Second with a second fully starting.
Second fully starting, yeah. But I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he does win an MVP coming up in the next few seasons.
Yeah, I agree with Cam, and I was going to bring that up too, that granted we didn't really see much of a situation where Mahomes was out like we did with Hurts being different, but you definitely notice a difference in the offense and just how the team played when Hurts was out those 2 weeks with Minshew in. You notice all the routes were different because all the timing was off. And people could argue that's just because, they haven't played with Minshew. This is the issue. They haven't had time to build chemistry. But if you're not an MVP caliber player, there wouldn't be that much of a difference between a team with how the media likes to say, they have A.J. Brown, they have Devontae Smith, they have Miles Sanders, and they have a solid O-line. Why can't anybody be a QB and go in? Because it's such a system QB role. I will say, though, that Mahomes, because he's older, he has more experience, he's been there before, I do think he edges out Hurts, but again, Hurts is up there, he's playing up there, and he is humble. I forget who exactly said it earlier, but he's very humble because you see it in when he had an interview with Jason Kelce on his podcast, where Jason Kelce kept trying to bust him for, you're the only QB that squats 600. He would just laugh it off and keep going. But all the interviews you see, he's humble. He just plays for a team. That's all he wants to do. He just wants to win the Super Bowl for Philly. He kind of just wants to fly under the radar. He will do what he needs to do for the team, and it shows because he's done it in interviews. He's a leader. He's a dog, and he's only in 2 years. So I think he's got a long future in Philly. And on top of that, I will say going into this week, as we noticed, don't mess with the Rocky statue.
I like your take on that too, Pat, with saying the offensive line and the weapons. I think I brought this up a lot. Is it his fault how everyone's like, oh, he's a system quarterback? No, it's in every aspect, like you said. A good organization will come and bring you your weapons. They'll come and do that for you. It's not his fault, man, that he was granted with AJ Brown and Smith. Like, I was looking into it and seeing the comparison actually with the Chiefs and Eagles. If you look at it, the Eagles drafted everybody on this team besides on their offense, besides AJ Brown. And that just shows me, like, a few years ago, people were like, oh, Howie don't know how to draft. He's messing up the team. Let's get rid of Howie. Dude, Howie's been good, man. And what I love about Philly is they're aggressive with their trades, knowing how to go and get equity out of it. And even just, dude, trading for AJ Brown, that was a huge leap. And it's not a leap of faith because we know AJ Brown's proven. But, like, coming to Philly, man, like, it's a good thing, dude. And I believe, like, no one can go and say, oh, Jalen Hurts is a system quarterback. What's special about them is, can you get a quarterback in and then make everyone else change their ways of game planning in a way, right? And, like, what you said about Minshew. Minshew comes in, yeah, the chemistry was probably off because he's working with the second team. But at the same time, the defenses know Minshew ain't scrambling. He ain't doing the RPOs and read optioning. So it kind of dwindled Philly's, like, play calling down for him. Like, it's like, all right, how do we go from a running quarterback like Hurts and dwindle our system and our play calling down to now we're known as an RPO team and bringing Minshew into it, who's not a scrambling QB at all. I thought Minshew was a dog. I love him in Philly, dude. He's a dog. But, I mean, dude, it's just when you come to Philly, like, even if you have to replace Hurts, you need to know the role you're in. And I think, like, Minshew's a good backup, don't get me wrong. But if I'm having a backup quarterback there, similar to, like, how Lamar Jackson is with Tyler Huntley, they're both very similar to where you don't have to change your game plan up because Huntley's a good running quarterback too. I'd want my next quarterback that's behind Hurts to be a guy that's able to come right in and fit in the system.
Before Bubbles, you go. I liked how Pat mentioned humbleness. I just like to say that when Mahomes won the MVP, he was all dressed up and he was like accepting his award. And then Jalen Hurts was asked about it. Like, he was like, how do you feel that you didn't win the MVP award? He goes, cool. He's like, he's so focused on this game, and I just absolutely love it, man. He's a cold-hearted killer, man. I love it.
I think, like, going on, I mean, Jalen Hurts is a leader. That's been stapled in. Like, the first time he stepped on the field a few years ago, he showed he was a leader. He had the guys behind him. And then we talk about last year, the man made playoffs. He made the playoffs with a horrible roster. Like, honestly, Pat probably could have started on that in that wide receiver core. That wide receiver core was a bunch of nobodies. Like, and he brought that team to the playoffs. And then you bring in AJ Brown. You bolster up this defense, and look what happens. Jalen Hurts thrives, and the team is more successful than ever and more confident than ever. They are so, like, their confidence level is so high. Like, they are confident in what they are doing. And I think that just plays a role into how this team is going to perform on some. You're confident. They might get punched in the face first play of the game. It might happen, but I don't see a way that they lose by a lot at all, because they won't let that happen, because their leader in Jalen Hurts won't let it happen. He'll take over the game if he has to. He'll put the foot forward, but he won't let the team just die. He's going to fight until the end, and that's what I love about you, whatever the price is.
What were they saying? 50 mil that he's gonna end up being paid over the summer.
They were hovering
Yeah, something
around
like
that.
that.
That was in the conversations.
Yeah.
Do you guys think though he's worth 50 mil?
I just hope it doesn't hurt them in the long term. You know, I hope that we could keep our defensive players and because our defense is like legit, like easily better than, I'd say better than San Francisco.
Yeah, me
I
to a
too.
point where
I thought you were gonna say better than the offense.
no, I wouldn't say that, but it's like they equal out each other so well. You know what I mean?
I think it's neck and neck if you had to go and say Philly's offense or defense. You know what I mean? I think it
I
is really neck and neck.
definitely don't know about paying Jalen Hurts 50 mil a year because that's a lot of money and we need all the money that we can get right now. But if they do it, I don't see it being like a contract like Mahomes got, like a 10-year. You know what I mean? It won't be that. It'd probably be a 4-year, $200 million deal if he got it. But I was hoping for more of like a maybe 6-year, 275, somewhere in that range, just so we can lock him up for a couple years and then go from there. You know what I mean? Maybe like in the 300s, but I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I agree with you, Steve. I think something like a 4 to 6 year contract that would like be best.
It just seems ideal to me because like he's really good. He's playing at a high level, but he's just not. Give him some time to prove it. You know what I mean? Don't lock him up for 10 years. You know what I mean? Because what if he doesn't perform up to par and gets hurt or something like that, like Carson Wentz, and you're trying to trade off that 10-year, $50 million a year contract? That's not going to happen. That is not going to happen.
I think another factor that goes into his contract is like you said, injury. Because
Exactly.
with running
Main
quarterbacks,
one and QB, yeah.
you never know when they're going to get hurt. They could tear their ACL any given play.
And Jalen Hurts takes a lot of hits, dude, too, and he takes hard hits.
I think a 10-year contract. I honestly, in my opinion, I don't care. A 10-year contract is a bigger risk is for anybody.
It's the biggest risk you can take.
The biggest 10 years is
It's going to be a massive contract that you're signing to.
with injuries, and you don't know what's going to happen in 10
Exactly.
years. The Chiefs took a big, all right, Pat Mahomes did this, Pat Mahomes did that. I mean, they took a big risk, but I mean, it's playing out good so far, but you never know what can happen.
It is playing good for them. Don't get me wrong, but it's just something could go wrong with Mahomes even too. You know what I mean? He's not even halfway through that contract.
I think also like with the whole contract situation with Jalen Hurts, currently right now, the front office is building a plan. Like they're just trying to figure out what's going to work best for their pockets at first. And I think Jalen Hurts is going to come to the table with his agent. And I do not think he's going to want a full-on max contract. I think he's going to come to the table and say, let's cut some things up, maybe make some a bonus, cut it off here, and slim down the contract so they can retain Devontae Smith later down the road. They can retain the defense they have. And by the person we know, like the person that Jalen Hurts is and has shown to everybody in Philadelphia is he wants to be here and he wants to succeed. I don't think he cares that much about the money. Of course, he's going to want a good contract. He is not going to want a 10-year or a $10 million contract. Like he's going to want some money, but I think he's going to cut corners to get some big pieces into the organization so that they can do this more often. And that's who I think Jalen Hurts is. He's a winner, and he has that dog in him. You know, he is so focused on everything he does. He is a franchise quarterback. He's going to want franchise quarterback money, but I think he's going to try and fix room so that we can be champions more often than not.
So, on top of that, Bubbles, I got a few questions because, like you said, you think Jalen Hurts might he might try to play the Tom Brady role where he takes cuts, but he still gets his money. So, that ties into multiple questions because we have to think, what are the odds Kelsey retires? Lane Johnson apparently might retire. Brandon Graham's up there. And then you also have the 1-year deals with Johnson and Bradbury. How do you think that gets solved?
Well, I mean, we got this already kind of solved. I'm sorry, Luke, to cut you off there.
No,
But
you're good.
but Jason Kelsey is teaching Cam Jurgens how to play center. He is teaching him how to be that guy. I do not think, and every time we've seen Cam Jurgens step on the field, he's doing, like, he's blocking people into the ground. He's driving people. These are NFL players. Like, they're good. And Cam Jurgens is doing just what Jason Kelsey does week in and week out. Now, Lane Johnson is a different story. If Lane Johnson retires, we might have to go to the draft. We might have to draft one. Then on the other side of the ball, I think we let Fletcher Cox walk, first off. I mean, I love Fletcher Cox. He's an icon. But just like we did with Jason Peters, there's a time you got to leave, man. And I think Fletcher Cox, yeah, he's still got some juice in him. But unless he's going to sign for really cheap, it's not worth our money. And Reddick has to return. That's a first.
Well, he's there for 3 years.
Is he? Okay.
He signed a 3. He signed a
3-year, 45.
Yeah, 3 year, 45.
So he's there for a while. We need Bradbury, who retires and who doesn't. If Lane Johnson retires, I think you have to go and sign Bradbury and draft a tackle in the first round. That's how I'm looking at it. Maybe a later first round, maybe early. Second off, you got to re-sign C.J. Gardner-Johnson, right? Like, there's no way we can let that man just walk out of the building, especially with how he's played. But those two, I think one of them stays, and I think it's going to be C.J. Gardner-Johnson because it's really hard to find an outstanding safety from the college level. It's really difficult. So lock him up. If Bradbury walks, then we go and get a cornerback in the draft, you know? Like we had, I think, and same with if we sign Bradbury, you know, we might not have money for Miles Sanders. And don't get me wrong, he had a great year and he was top 5 rushing. But I am 100% willing to let Miles Sanders walk and draft a running back also. Because
no drafting running back. Like you were saying, draft a tackle if Lane Johnson leaves because we still have Gainwell and Boston Scott. No, I know what you're saying, but like get a third cheap.
Scott's gonna end up leaving in free agency.
I'm not saying you have to draft a running back first round. I'm saying our first round should be one defensive and one offensive. Wherever we're missing a hole. If it's tackle, if it's a tackle, we're taking a tackle. And we could take a running back in the second round. Like, we have to take at least one running back in this draft. That's in stone. It depends on where we take it. Like you said, if Boston Scott walks, then and we let Miles Sanders walk, we're going to have to pick one up in free agency. And if that's a good running back, we're just going to draft a running back late and give him an opportunity just to be on the roster.
Well, what if you take your needs I mean, like you draft your needs instead of a running back, and then you look into guys that you can sign cheap, like Kareem Hunt or something like that. Kareem
Yeah,
Hunt.
so-
I think Kareem Hunt is ready for an actual full on 3-down back role like he was with it.
I think he's ready to go too, dude. And there's been talk about him coming to Philly for a long time now. And
I don't
pay Kareem Hunt that much.
No, Kareem Hunt is a lot of teams are gonna value Kareem Hunt just from what he did in Kansas City and then being that second guy with Chubb. He will, dude. If they had Chubb and him splitting carries, Kareem Hunt is an animal. It's
If
just
they have Kareem Hunt and Kenny Gainwell splitting carries in Philly, you sign Kareem Hunt to a cheap deal. I think they're going to value him over there, dude. There's been talk about him coming to town for a couple years now.
some team is going to offer Kareem Hunt 10 plus mil. It's just how
I think they probably will too. I mean, I just mean like those type of guys.
I love like
radar that are good.
I love what Philly can go, and it's weird, dude. They can negotiate these guys to like take cheap deals, but Kareem Hunt is not gonna sign anywhere less than the 10 mil, dude. Like he's a valued running back. When he was in Kansas City, if that stuff didn't come out about him, he would still be in Kansas City. Maybe not because of a deal. He would need a big deal, but Kareem Hunt was that running back at one point.
He led the league in rushing as a rookie, I'm pretty sure.
You could say the same thing about Todd Gurley, though. Like, he was that guy in Los
Todd Gurley
Angeles.
was a machine. It's just a shame what happened to him,
No,
honestly, and injuries.
It's a lot different, man. It's a lot different with Todd Gurley because, dude, the guy had – I think Ethan probably – he's smart with this. Didn't Gurley have, 2 ACL tears in college, right?
In college, I think he only had one.
He didn't tear it in the NFL.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
I think he tore twice in the NFL, didn't he?
But his knees were bummed. His knees were bummed out.
Both of them.
Yeah, his knees were both bummed, dude, and he was getting arthritis actually in his knees. Todd Gurley's a different case than Kareem Hunt, 100%. Kareem Hunt, dude, still has that firepower, but dude, like Cleveland took a leap of faith on him. To be honest, so nobody else. It's weird. Nobody else would have really picked Kareem Hunt up after that. Like it's like a similar situation with Ray Rice. Ray Rice then was done. But Cleveland did take him up, whatever. But I like what Pat was saying, too, with Lane Johnson. I actually did read that, dude. He's thinking about, calling it quits, man. I know he said, I have to go and get surgery after the season. I think we got Lane Johnson 1 or 2 more seasons with
He came out and said in the beginning of the season that he wanted to play 2 more seasons, but now it's looking like you said, he's might call it quits.
I don't think he calls it quits after this season.
Me neither.
But I think with Philly, the game plan with Philly is with Bradbury. I think Bradbury just walks. He was saying, dude, he's open. Actually, it's crazy. You're an Eagle, dude, and you're talking about now going back to New York. Like, what?
I've never really liked Bradbury, honestly, dude.
No, I always respect him.
He plays good, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if he's a guy that you got to pay Bradbury, dude. He's going to want money.
Bradbury's going to probably make like a 15 mil contract.
And Darius Slay is already, the second or third highest paid corner in the league?
Yeah, he's making 17 a year.
Like, I'm not trying to pay. I mean, I'm obviously not a part of the Eagles organization, but I don't think.
Steve,
I don't think
it's not the Sims. Not the Sims.
There's always time, Steve.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're gonna move on to back. Oh, sorry, Braden. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I just wanted to say I think the biggest thing. I know we're talking about Miles Sanders or whatever, but I want to go off what Cam said. The needs and wants. I think the biggest thing that they should focus on. I mean, after this is maintaining that defense. Like, look at that. We talked about free agents and retirements.
Defense wins championships.
Yeah, that's what they say. And look at that defensive line this year. What do they average? Over 10 sacks a game? Or
Yeah,
over 10.
we had 60 some sacks. We broke the record for most combined sacks.
They had 70.
That's a
total.
big. That's a big, defense wins championships. And
Hey,
there's a lot of other
thanks,
free agents
kiddo.
this year. There's a lot of other free agents this year. I don't know if they're all going to sign back to their teams. I mean, I know Saquon, Tony Pollard, Jamal Williams. There's a lot of free agents this year, so you can also look there. I know someone like Saquon, injury prone, whatever, but he don't want to go back. Why would he want to go back to the Giants? And they had a good season this year, but he hasn't done much in the years he's been there. There's always where's the look. I know the draft.
He's been hurt.
The draft, yeah, but the draft. I say take defense with the risk of who's going to retire, who's going to do this,
So moving off of those topics, we're gonna wrap up the Birds talk with Super Bowl predictions. What's the outcome? What's the yardage looking like? Over under sacks? Let me hear it all. Let's start with you, Pat.
Oh, all right on the spot. We talking total sacks or just team sacks?
No, just like give me your who's gonna win the game, and then whatever else you want to add.
I don't like doing that because of jinx teams.
Knock on wood. You know what I mean?
I'm not gonna specify a winner, just because I don't like doing that as a betting man. But I think the Eagles have the better chance. I am generally curious on who's going to cover Kelsey out of the Eagles defense. I will say that. I like A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith against the rookie cornerbacks for the Chiefs. So I think if I'm going with it, it's going to be high 20s, low 30s for the score. I'm not specifying it, like I said earlier. And then I think Mahomes throws an interception. And I'm going to end it with...
Who do you think gets that pick?
Jesus. I'm going to toss it
the underdog Epps? Does Epps come up with a pick?
Don't worry about it. You don't got to put any money on this.
I feel like it's going to be a random person, but I'm going to toss it up between Slay and Johnson. It's definitely going to be some... It might be Blankenship for all I know at this point. But
don't count
I'm
him
going to go
out.
with that. Yeah, I'm not counting him out at all. Boy from Rutgers can play. And then I'll finish it with, I saw a stat, and I think it was the last 9 NFL MVPs have never won the Super Bowl. So I'm just going to leave with that. And like I said earlier, Chiefs fans touch the Rocky statue. We know how that goes. Hopefully it holds true. And go Birds.
I think, first off, I'm not betting, man, so I'm going to throw it out there. The Birds going to win this. They're going to win it 30-27. I'm going to tell you that right now. First off, right off the bat. There's keys to this game, of course. One, it's similar. The offenses for Kansas City and Philadelphia are extremely similar. They are. Like, when it comes down to what needs to happen, they're very similar. So, first off, the key to this game for both teams is the rushing attack. If Philadelphia gets Miles Sanders and Jalen Hurts running and, sprinkle in some Boston Scott and some Kenny Gainwell, they're going to be cooking for a while in that game. But on the flip side, if Isaiah Pacheco and Jerick McKinnon, if they're in their groove and running hard, they are also dangerous as running backs. On the flip side, on the defense, pass rush for the Eagles. They're the best in the league this year for pass rush. There's no better team. And I think that's going to play a role. I was looking at some stats, and their tackle is 9th. He's ranked 9th. And he has 10 holding calls this year. He's okay, but Hassan Reddick has been he ate up everybody he's played. That offensive line for San Fran was supposed to be pretty good. right? They were a decent offensive line, top 10. And I think we just gotta get to Patrick Mahomes. If he cannot have time to throw the ball, it's gonna be hard. And then I'm gonna leave it here. This is my bold prediction for the Super Bowl. Hammer it. Hammer this. Super Bowl MVP, Hassan Reddick. I'm calling it right now. Von Miller, when he won the
Wait,
Super Bowl MVP.
are you saying you're hammered saying this, or are you saying
No,
Oh, you're
hammer
hammered.
this.
All right.
Hammer it.
I think we know who's hammered.
The last time that a defensive player won Super Bowl MVP was Von Miller in Super Bowl 50. He had, I think, 2 sacks, I think 7 tackles, 8 tackles. He went off. But Hassan Reddick has averaged in playoffs so far more sacks than that run, more tackles than Von Miller, and he's getting fumbles. He's good at doing that. I'm telling you right now, hammer home Hassan Reddick, Super Bowl MVP. Bold take.
Well, Bubbles, you did say you were not a betting man. And as a betting man myself, I'm going to say flat out that ain't happening. I just saw earlier FanDuel boosted Hassan Reddick to record 1 sack, and it's plus 100 now. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Hassan Reddick isn't even going to get 1 sack. I'm going to say Josh Sweat and Brandon Graham, they're going to have 2 sacks each. Hassan Reddick, he's not getting 1 sack. The NFL works in mysterious ways, and that's why the sports books make money.
Hard to bet in Vegas, AE.
Exactly.
Ethan's the bookie.
So, in terms of the game, I think Travis Kelce, like Pat said, I don't know who's going to cover him. I'm guessing they're going to have Gardner Johnson on him for the most part, but he's just such a mismatch to anyone. I think he'll go off. He'll probably have like 8 or 9 receptions at least, probably close to 100 yards and a touchdown. I think for the Eagles on offense, I think their tight end Dallas Goedert. I think he has a big game. He said earlier in the media that what a better stage to prove that he's one of the best tight ends in the Super Bowl. So I think he comes in with an angry mindset. I think he gets a lot of looks over the middle, and I think he has a touchdown too. Overall, I think obviously the Eagles are going to win, and I'm going to go with the same score as this game right here, 41-33, Super Bowl 52.
I'm gonna say this. I think that the Chiefs wide receivers are gonna get locked up. They're gonna get locked up. It's just how it is. But now, yeah, I was saying this in the fade and previous with going against the Chiefs. How do you stop Travis Kelce? Now, CJ, do you guys know, is Avonte Maddox playing in this or what?
Yeah.
Pretty sure all players are healthy.
Yeah,
All right, so then we have Maddox and in the nickel in the slot. So if we have Maddox playing and Gardner Johnson could kind of like be like that, like tight end spy, even though I've never heard of that, but like a tight end spy on Kelce, I think we're solid. I think Kelce gets. I don't think Kelce has a big catch. I think it's gonna be dink and dunks with him. Maybe like a stupid like 2-yard touchdown with Kelce, and then he goes and does his stupid little dances. And I swear to God, if he ends up doing the I just want to rock dance like Jason did the other week with Miles, it's gonna be a little messed up. It's gonna be messed up. I'm gonna call this though quick. I'm gonna call it quick. Boston Scott game-winning touchdown. Game-winning touchdown. It's gonna come down to it. Boston Scott game-winning touchdown. Yeah. The Eagles.
He ain't playing the Giants though.
Huh?
He ain't playing the Giants though. He's the Giant Slayer. He only
No,
supposed to the Giants.
it comes down to where it's like, sometimes Boston Scott, he's like a miracle guy here and there. I like Kenny Gainwell, but I'm gonna just go quick with this. Isaiah Pacheco, if he don't have a big game, obviously I think it's gonna be a shootout by the Chiefs. I don't think the Chiefs have over 50. I'd say 50 to 75 total rushing yards. I think McKinnon is going to be a lot of a good dump off pass. Their actual receivers aren't going to do nothing. And I'm not saying that as a biased fan. I just think they're going to get locked down. If the Chiefs get up early and often, it's going to be a good one. It's going to be a good one because I want to see Hurts in this stage. Like how they're all down and they're like, oh, he didn't play anyone this season. Here's your test. Here's your test, kid. So we'll see what you do against Kansas City in the biggest stage of them all. I think Jalen Hurts throws for less than 225. It's gonna be I don't know, Philly, when they rush that ball, man, there's something about it. We don't need to be slinging a rock, but we'll see with that. Tutties come by, Jalen Hurts rushing and a Boston Scott winning. It's gonna be a high scoring game. Shout out though, Brandon Graham. If this is your final year, you're going off with a victory. I think Jason Kelce, dude, he got that mentality in him too. Jason Kelce don't hang it up if he loses this game. I think there's a lot in people in Philly that they know in Philly right now we're competitors. So if you can go and lose this game, it's not going to happen. But if it does, they ain't hanging it up. So I think we'll see Jason Kelce if the ring comes. We'll have our final big speech. And hey, don't be throwing your stuff on the Rocky Balboa statue or karma hits. Karma hits and the birds. Go birds, fly Eagles fly. 1, 2, 3, hit them low, hit them high.
Like I said before, man, I think defense wins championships. And the Eagles, they're a favorite, but they have the more dominant team. In top to bottom, they have the more dominant team. And I like it. I know Pat Mahomes is coming off that ankle. And I'm predicting a lot of rough hits in this game. It's going to be a dog-eat-dog world out there. And Bubbles, Hassan Reddick, that's a really bold. That's a really bold move there. But I did see he got some votes. Votes.
I'm placing the bet right after this.
Reddick got 2 votes.
He got more than we thought, though.
Oh, Reddick's getting it. It should have been neck and neck.
Yeah, right. I like the Eagle. Coming from an unbiased fan, I'm neither Chiefs nor Eagles, but being a PA fan, I would love to see the Birds take it home. And I'm sick of this Pat Mahomes talk. Like it's been here for a couple of years. I don't overrate it in my opinion, but what does it matter? I think the score prediction, I'm going to take it, call me original, but I'm going to take it by a field goal. I'm going to take it 27-24.
I was going to say 30.
I think with the humbleness, again, I think Jalen Hurts and the Eagles being hated, they have something to prove. Don't hate on us. We're the team. We're the ones to do it. But like before the comparisons, I'll say Pat Mahomes is without a doubt, and I will say this without a doubt, the better quarterback. He showed us in the past years what he can do, and the run. I think it's going to be, the little doinks that Luke was talking about. It's going to be a doink game. You don't want to be going out there risking taking it downfield when you have to. Obviously, when you have to, but I think Goddard and Kelce, I'll take Kelce over Goddard, but Goddard, don't count him out because he's a good tight end, but the coverage on Kelce, we've seen him in the best of coverage, and what has he done? Score, get to where he needs to be. He's the man for them. I know I'm not I'm not going to count Goddard out, though. And Miles Sanders and Pacheco, I think, in my opinion, Pacheco is he's I like him, one of the most that I like in the NFL. He's a good running back for this scenario, but Sanders, I'm not going to say over under, rush yards. I think it's too close of a, close to home for my buddies here on the pod. But I'll say it's going to be a close game, and I just don't like. I'm going off that hate for the Eagles. They have something to prove. They're the most hated, but we'll see who's undisputed when the time comes down to it. We'll see what Jalen Hurts can do.
All right, so I think this is going to be a game where this is going to be one of those games where A.J. Brown just dominates the corner. It is, dude. There's too many weapons. There's too many weapons on the Philly offense for them to afford to double A.J. Brown. You can't do it because then it's just going to leave more room for Dallas and Devontae Smith. You can't afford to really double him in this, man. And I think that there's just, especially a rookie, A.J. Brown is just so strong, man, really, and he's so fast. It's so hard to cover him, man, especially on those quick routes like the slants and stuff like that. And his double moves are getting to the point where they're some of the best in the league as well. And I think he definitely exploits his talent in this. And he's also Jalen Hurts' like best friend, and he's his number one receiver. These are the games that you feed your number one wide receiver in the Super Bowl. Look at how Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp. Like it's going to be kind of like the same thing, honestly. But yeah, I'm going to go. A.J. Brown's going to go off. I think he's going to win Super Bowl MVP. And I'm going to put the score at 31-17.
Steve, I was just about to say, you read my mind right there. The Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are going up against double rookie corners this game, I'm pretty sure. They're going to absolutely tear it up. So the MVP voting for the game is going to come down to either A.J. Brown or Jalen Hurts, depending on how well Jalen Hurts heaves the rock. And if he even runs for – I'd say he has to run over 50 yards easily to win MVP.
Yeah, he has to.
But I don't know, man. For sacks, I don't think Ethan's take is 100% right on Hassan Reddick getting maybe one. I am saying he gets maybe 3 because he's just an absolute beast. He got snubbed for that Defensive Player of the Year, which is just I have no words for that.
Ethan's probably smoking out of a tinny right now. So that's a little off. That's a little off.
I'm just saying these sports books, they know what they're doing.
Enjoy that, Timmy. Enjoy it.
But the score, something's weird is gonna happen this game. I'm calling a safety. The Eagles defense gets a safety on Pat Mahomes. Score being 33-24. Go Birds.
All right, that's gonna wrap up our Super Bowl talk. We're gonna
wait. One more thing.
Go ahead.
Your dark horse on each team. Before we wrap it up, your dark horse on each team from Philly, besides Smith, A.J. Brown, and Hurts, and your dark horse on the Chiefs besides Kelsey and Mahomes.
My dark horse, I said it in the Fade podcast, is Jerick McKinnon. I think he's gonna have 2 touchdowns.
My dark horse for the Chiefs. I'm gonna take. We've talked about the defense and that rush. How many sacks that defensive line is holding up? I'm gonna take Pacheco. They don't think they can rush that much on that dominant defensive line.
I gotta agree with Harv, dude. I think Isaiah Pacheco's gonna have a big game, man. He's been pretty good in the playoffs, man. I think they took him in the 7th round too, or something like that, maybe the 6th. But yeah, he's starting to prove himself. I think he's the dude over there. And for Philly, I think my dark horse is Kenny Gainwell.
Love that, Steve.
Thanks, Luke.
I could agree with you, Steve, for the dark horse for the Eagles, but I'm going to have to go with Dallas Goedert. He's going to absolutely tear it up. He's going to get open a lot because I think they're going to focus on the wide receivers more than the tight ends. For the Chiefs, I'm gonna say Juju Smith-Schuster is gonna have some kind of weird catch, weird yardage. Like it's gonna be weird because I don't know. It's Juju. He might do a TikTok dance on the NFL logo after the game. I don't know.
Hey, Pittsburgh taught him well.
Yeah, him and Chase Claypool.
Don't forget Jackson Mahomes is going to be there too. Harv,
Oh, they can do it
likes
together
him.
then.
Harv might be doing a TikTok stitch with him, or I do it.
Kind of looks like him, to be honest.
Harv Mahomes.
Come on. I know I'm the newbie, but what? Pick on the new guy.
Well, that was Steve.
You don't know.
Let's hear yours then.
Got a little ringside talk.
I don't care for the Chiefs, but I'll probably agree with Cam with Juju because ever since he's been traded, he's been way too quiet, even on the TikTok front, if you're watching that. Just in general, his production hasn't been up there. He's been kind of overshadowed in the Chiefs. Super Bowl is his time to shine. And usually the Super Bowl is where the lesser-known guys or the less productive guys start to pop out because everybody goes for the main guys. For the Birds, Bowles, I'm going to say Reddick gets covered too well because they know he's going to murder somebody if they let him go, just like Purdy got murdered. So I'm going to go with the 52 here with Brandon Graham being the dark horse.
I think I got to agree with you, Pat, I am saying that Hassan Reddick, I would bet Hassan Reddick to win Super Bowl MVP. But if I'm going somebody that is not Hassan Reddick, because I'll go against what I believe, the guy to look out for is C.J. Gardner-Johnson. I think he is the dark horse for Philadelphia. If Patrick Mahomes struggles to get it to these wide receivers early on in this game, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is going to have a lot of opportunities to have picks. And Patrick Mahomes does throw interceptions. He's not an alien. And for Kansas City,
and he just slings it anyways.
Yeah, half the time he just slings it. So CJ will have opportunities to get this ball. For Kansas City, I think I'm kind of going to go the route with Cam and Pat with the wide receiver, but I'm not going Juju. I'm not. I'm going MVS. MVS is going to be slept on. He's been slept on all season.
MVS is getting locked up, Bubbles.
No, I am telling you right now, MVS is going to line up closer to the slot position, and they're going to hammer where we're weaker, where we've been weak in this in the coverage that we've ran, the middle of the field. They're going to, of course, take Kelsey in the middle of the field, but there's going to be a lot of time where they're going to have Kelsey run a short route or run an out route. And in that time, we're going to have our eyes directed at Kelsey. They're going to have MVS run right in the middle of the field. We've seen it with Dallas when they beat us on Christmas. With Avonte Maddox out, but I think that's going to be one of the weaker spots is right behind our linebackers with TJ Edwards and Kazir White there.
Ethan, before I cut you off, or Luke, I forgot to name my dark horse for Philly. And before you were talking about him, and I think it's going to be Marcus Epps.
All right.
I don't know why.
We after that dark horse, what's he gonna do? Run a punt down? Run somebody down on the punt returns?
Hey, you talk about him all the time. How much you like him?
No, Epps ain't my favorite guy.
Don't count him out this time in the big stage.
My dark horse is quick. I'm gonna go Pacheco, Kansas City. If anything, two easy touchdowns, 2-yard tutties. Philly, Quez Watkins, GB. Goodbye, boys.
All right.
All
right. That'll wrap it up for the Super Bowl talk. Go Birds. Well, I guess we'll see you guys next time. Hopefully with the Super Bowl championship.
37-34.
All right, Luke, calm down with the script.
A quick update for the Sixers. They went 6-3 since we last talked. They had a big win over the Nuggets, big win over the Nets, a couple big wins. Joel Embiid won Player of the Month, and just got named as an All-Star starter finally, which is good.
I'll wrap up with the Phillies real quick. So Jose Alvarado signed a 1-year deal to avoid arbitration this year. Yeah, spring training coming up soon. We're a little bit over. That's okay. Stay tuned for our plethora of podcasts. We got UFC,
Name on
NBA coming
Twitter.
out soon. Yeah, it'll be fine. As long as it's under an hour and a minute, we're good. So stay tuned for those. We'll be back next week with the Ring. Go Birds.
Go Birds, baby.